Well, it's good, guys. So, forgive the sunglasses, but the lights are like really bright right in front of me. I have a serious few questions for whoever may know the answers. Some questions that I've had for years. Mainly, within the United States. Mainly, were our forefathers smart enough to actually outline what to do in the case of an issue with the currency? Hear me out, right? So, most of us within crypto began in metals. So, 1 troy ounce of silver, right? Now, there are laws attached to the American Silver Eagle, as well as the American Gold Eagle, which render it, there are constitutional law, or there are counterfeit laws attached to anything deemed to be that of currency or to be equated to $1. However, 1 troy ounce is 31.1 grams. However, by the United States Constitution, it is defined as 371.25 grains, not grams. In 1 troy ounce of silver, there's like 400 and something. I forget the actual weight in grains of silver. But, okay, my question is that, or let me try to piece this together for you and then bring it all back home, right? So, many within the metals community refer to constitutional silver, like your 90% quarters, dimes, half dollars, minted 1964 and earlier. From 1965 through 1969 or 70 is 40% silver for the half dollar. Okay, now the current coin shortage that happened during this whole pandemic thing, right? No one could get coinage unless you had a business account, which the trust has a few different accounts, but they're all business checking accounts. And I was able to get a limited amount of coinage. However, the same counterfeit laws pertain to the American Silver Eagle, also pertain to the coinage of the United States, whether that be half dollar, quarter, dime, nickel, and the cent. It's not a penny. Doesn't say penny anywhere on it. It says cent. There was a difference there. Again, related back to the Constitution. That is why we separated from British rule, is by weights and measures, which is why within the United States we do not use the metric system. I get all that, right? A few people don't, but whatever, it's out there. The information is out there if you go digging. Okay, so like during that of Obama's reign, Barack drone bomber. So, who won the Nobel Peace Prize? Anyway, that is why under his reign, he wanted to change the composition of a nickel. Because a nickel is comprised of 25% nickel, 75% copper. So at one time, it actually cost the United States Treasury 13 cents to mint that 1 nickel, worth 5 cents. Now, the composition of the penny, or cent, changed in 1982. So before 1982, it was comprised of 95% copper. After 1982, that cent was then comprised of mostly zinc. So the copper within the nickel is still the same composition. However, the dime and the quarter have changed. Okay. Bit of a history lesson there, right? So the silver was taken out of our coinage after 1970, as far as the half dollar, after 1964 in the normal coinage. Now, the nickel was also comprised of 35% silver between the years of 1942 and 45 during World War II. You just look above the dome of Monticello for the mint mark, whether that was a D for Denver, O for Orleans, P for Philadelphia, S for San Francisco, and so on. So, other than that, let's see, the cent also during that time was comprised of steel because the copper was needed for ammunition for the war effort during that time of World War II. Okay, let's try to bring it all back, right? I know this is a bit of a history lesson here, but hear me out, like I said. So, with those same laws of counterfeiting that are often referred to and spoken about of the American Silver Eagle and Gold Eagle, whereas defined under Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, that the Department of Treasury will then coin money from gold and silver. Here's my question. Were our forefathers smart enough to actually more so give us an outline as to how to correct a currency issue within the United States? Meaning, if you go to Article 1 of the United States Constitution, yes, it does say all of that in Section 8, as far as gold and silver to be used as money, to be coined as money for the United States. It does. However, if you go back to Article 6, so reread those sections, Article 1, Sections 6 through 8, I do believe actually outline how to correct a currency issue within the United States as by weights and measures, 2/3 majority of the House, so of Congress. So once you have 2/3 majority, then that is basically what gives power of the purse. The term power of the purse is derived from that. So now let's take a look at a dollar, a paper dollar. It is no longer backed by gold. The dollar lost its peg to gold in 1971. August 15th, 1971, President Nixon came out before the United States on live television and stated that he was going to temporarily suspend the convertibility of other fiat currencies, other nation states' currencies, from that into the dollar to be converted into gold, thus depegging the dollar from gold, meaning that it is then fiat, which means crappy car. But anyway, little Max Kaiser joke. But anyway, so if other nation states' currencies are pegged to the US dollar, and the US dollar is pegged to nothing, not even petrol, not even the petrodollar any longer. Look at the BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They are evading the United States dollar right now. Look at Saudi Arabia. The Saudis are now breaking their treaty with the United States as far as using dollars for oil. So it is no longer going to be the petrodollar. And we have no Kissinger of today to make that sort of a deal. You see, the United States has, for many years, has exported our inflation. Let me explain. We give other nation states currencies, or other nation states our currency, the United States dollar, which is backed supposedly by oil, which is under threat at the moment. So we gave all of our inflation, our dollars that we printed, until we don't even know how many dollars exist. You know, yes, you can go to usdebtclock.org, and it does state $30 trillion in debt. Here again, I'll reference Dr. Skidmore and Catherine Austin Fitts, where they found off the books $22 trillion that went unreported. And that was back when the national debt was reportedly $20 trillion. So, what are we on the hook for? 60 trillion? Who knows, right? However, by using this Article 1, Sections 6 through 8, in order to abolish the Federal Reserve, because if you look at your U.S. currency, it says Federal Reserve Note. What is a note? A note is debt. And soon, I do believe, people will have a hard lesson to learn that debt is not an asset. Who's buying bonds? It's backed by the full force and faith of the U.S. government, the military, basically. If you look at it, and if you don't comply, you'll just be Gaddafi'd or, the other one. So, Saddam. If you spell Saddam backwards, it actually spells out mad ass. But anyway, right? So we have a big issue at the moment. We're looking at CBDCs, all of these other things, central bank digital currencies, which I do believe is a measure that they are trying to play catch up with, because they see many of us within crypto who've done well. And they laughed us off the stage years ago when we warned of this. You see, we, instead of using debt and death to back the dollar, why not use computer science and accountability, a means of accounting? Now, I understand for all their pet projects and whatnot that they will never wish to disclose where those funds are allocated. I understand that completely. They don't want to disclose to other nation states even that information. I get that. I do. However, there needs to be a sense of accounting, because we have no idea how many dollars there are. We have no idea how much silver there is in the world, or gold for that matter. They will try to tell you that, there's X amount of gold that has ever been created, or mined out of the earth. And silver is just used. Now, many argue, and there's a disconnect there, where they will argue that there's not enough silver to be used as currency within the U.S., or gold, for that matter. And actually, that is incorrect. What must change is the value. What is it worth? If you want to value it at $35 an ounce, or, was it Hoover or Roosevelt? I think it was FDR, who that made it illegal for United States citizens to hold gold. You must turn in your gold for the Federal Reserve effort. Right. How many people did that? Is that why so much pre-1933 gold still exists? And yes, they set one example of one individual who went to jail for that. But where did all this other gold come from? That's pre-1933. For the gold effort, or for the Federal Reserve effort, right? Which the Federal Reserve was founded in 1913 on Christmas Eve, when all the members of Congress went home. So it was only passed by a few, not by a majority, which was unconstitutional. So basically, by the stroke of a pen, we can abolish the Federal Reserve note. Now, coming to a new currency, I'll reflect back to Article 1, Sections 6 through 8 here. Whereas by weights and measures and 2/3 majority, with an issue of the currency, I do believe by those measures, within cryptocurrency, I do believe that we can form a digital dollar, a digital United States Treasury dollar, because the Federal Reserve is paid 6% interest to its shareholders. That's not federal. That's a private institution. And who are those shareholders that are not responsible and do not have to answer to that of Congress or to the citizens of the United States? Why is that? Who holds the gold? Building 7? Really? Where is it? Because, like playing war games in the woods when we were children, right? Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Okay. So like playing war games in the woods, where you had to hide the other team's flag, or you had to hide your flag, and the other team had to come and find your flag. Where's the best place to hide it? In plain sight. Have all your guards guarding a different portion, which holds no gold. The gold is held in a different area altogether. While meanwhile, everyone else is trying to attack where that gold is. So who's buried in Grant's tomb? Grant. Well, what's buried at Fort Knox, which was audited one time of one room in the 1950s by a couple of Congress critters, which, for all intents and purposes, we don't even know the purity of that gold. It must be refined to give a weight as to what that gold is. Is it just tungsten that's been covered in gold? Is it just spray painted and we don't have a clue? Because if our Congress critters don't even read the frickin' bill of which they pass to allocate funds here and there and set up all their pet peeve projects within each bill, we have to pass it to find out what's in it. And everyone must pay their fair share until it's time for me to resign and then pay my fair share and retire and move to Florida and pay nothing in taxes. Right? Right? Wrong. I think they deceived us. I think we don't know how much gold there is without it being either melted down and re-refined or through aqua regia to give a purity of 99.99% gold of what that is. However, if we were by weights and measures to then use a different form of currency, which is digital, which can pass through any border without the threat of civil asset forfeiture laws, because you try to take $10,000 across any border of the United States, and guess what? It's confiscated. It's seized. You're a criminal. And good luck to you if you wish to withdraw that from the bank. They don't have that amount in cash. And, they only have a certain amount of reserves. They then have to order that amount of currency. Go try to withdraw $10,000 from your bank tomorrow. Good luck to you. You will have to fill out forms, paperwork. You are then a criminal, right? And how many times have you been heard of other issues where people were stopped with $2,000 or $5,000 worth of cash? And the police, which is not law enforcement, police enforce policy. You work for me, a sovereign citizen of the United States of America. Get that shit right. So anyway, a CBDC, that is not cryptocurrency. A CBDC, when you hear those terms, hear fiat token. That's it. It's a fiat token, which does not have to report. There is no accountability, like a blockchain. A blockchain, you can trace every transaction to inception. It's a method of accounting with a known supply by weights and measures. I do believe one day some of us within crypto will have office. Some of us should seek out office within the House and the Senate. I do believe that one day, I don't know when, but I do believe that one day that we have a currency crisis, which I believe is ongoing right now. I said it back in 2008. Back then, that they were going to try to crush and destroy the currency. Did you know that in 2011, it became a mathematical impossibility to even service the debt at those low interest rates? So where are we at today? Where do you think we are today? You see, we exported our inflation for goods to come back to the U.S. What happens when they no longer use our currency for oil? What happens when all those dollars come back home to the United States? We recently printed how much? devalued the currency. How much? Shrinkflation? Really? Yeah, when's the last time you bought something and you realize a bag of chips ain't even a quarter of a bag? Or the soda is nowhere. It has either inflated. The inflation there is either by the cost, or it is by shrinkflation. Whereas you go to buy your graham crackers, a box of graham crackers, it no longer comes with a full box. Now they retard each package within that by 5 graham crackers, by those 3. So soon, I do believe that if you are not in assets, whether that be in crypto, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, rhodium, copper, cobalt, something, food, if you're not in assets, you will soon find out that debt is not an asset. Y'all be cool. Go make it a day. Later.